This stays between you and me, for now at least. Prophecy told me as she carefully placed the book back under the glass dome. Destiny doesn't hear a word of this. She'd have a nervous breakdown. That was really dark, don't you think? I asked as we made our way out of the library. His other stuff was really sad, but it was also kind of beautiful in a way. That one was just... I don't know. Do you think he was talking about someone specific? I don't know. I've never been good at interpreting stuff like that, she answered. Anyway, hush about that now. I'm going to see how Jekyll's doing upstairs. You go rest a little and try and figure out this Jose thing, okay? She told me before vanishing into mist, leaving me there standing alone in the library. I don't even remember lying down. Next thing I knew, I'd slept the entire day away. I didn't wake up until the sun was going down, and despite my protests, everyone insisted I stay at the manor after a large amount of those people wearing white started turning up everywhere in the area. Between when I went to sleep and woke up, they'd all come to the conclusion that it was the best to stay there and stay safe. I wanted to make some deliveries and look for Jose, but they said that because we didn't know what was going on out there, it was better to play it safe for the time being. So once I gave up arguing, I decided to finally explore the underground castle for myself. It was a good chance to clear my head and think about things, which was inevitably ruined. Once I'd been wandering for about half an hour, Prophecy pops up in front of me with a concerned look on her face. Hey, so there's someone here looking for you, she said once I picked myself up off the ground. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you, she apologized, my shriek still echoing down the stone hall. Who? I shouted up at her as I stood straight and dusted myself off. Well, it's that Han guy. He says he needs to ask you some questions about Jose. Oh boy. I meandered as I tried to figure out what to do with that. Yeah, okay. Can you just poof up there and tell him I'll be up there in about 30 minutes? Sure, I'll go tell him, she answered before disappearing. Before I had a chance to make it to the end of the hall, she was already back. He said he didn't feel like waiting, she told me as I noticed Han standing beside her in a yellow tank top with a black stripe running through the middle. His arms stayed crossed as he gave his head a small, uncomfortable shake. I don't think I've ever felt so awkward in my life for the time he stood there in total silence, staring down at me under the brim of his derby hat. I could feel my insides start to knot up at the same time my mouth dried out. So, you wanted to ask me something? Did Jose mention anything about who he thinks might have killed Mark? He asked bluntly. It's possible it could be related to his disappearance. If that's the case, then the sooner I know the better, he explained. Oh, no. I didn't know he figured it out until Louis showed up at the door with Abigail last night. None of us even knew he was with Jekyll either. Not until we found him next to Jose's phone in the clearing, my feet shuffling nervously back and forth. Once I finished, he just stood there for a second, like he was waiting for me to remember something. When I didn't, he took a deep breath and turned back to Prophecy. That's all. Let's go back, he told her. Hey, wait, I said to him before he disappeared. Did you think of something else? He asked, turning back around to face me. Well, no, I answered after a hard swallow. I just wanted to... Since we've never really got a chance to talk ever since, you know? Say what you have to say, he said to me as he recrossed his arms. Okay. I thought out loud to myself. I just wanted to say I'm really, sorry. I tried to stop them. They just wouldn't listen. I know you probably hate me. You told Jose you didn't care, but I can see it every time you look at me, and I understand. It's not fair. None of it's fair. What happened to Julie? What happened to me? What happened to you or Jose? You're angry, but I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I could have thrown up. Him standing there, looking down at me, not saying anything. It was so quiet, I could hear the blood rushing through my head as I held my breath, waiting for him to say something back. And then he did the one thing I wasn't ready for. He hugged me. I couldn't help but jump a little from the sudden contact. Then after a few seconds, he backed away, holding onto my shoulders. When I saw his face and the tear rolling down his cheek, I couldn't help but start crying too. I didn't know what else to do. I never could have imagined things going this way, and then he finally spoke. Lisa, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at Dirty Work Inc. or Tom. I want you to look at something, he told me as he pulled his wallet from his back pocket. This is Julie's driver's license, I said under my breath as I took a small card he handed me. Look at the other side. Huh? Oh, she was an organ donor, I said softly as I flipped it over. Lisa, I was the one who told them to use her body. I told them because it's what Julie would have wanted if she knew who you were and what happened to you. But yes, I do get angry when I look at you. But it's not your fault. I'm angry because every time I see her body, I see the way she died. He explained as he moved the collar of my shirt and brushed my hair out of the way. This wasn't a fast death. She suffered. She suffered alone, confused, scared, in the dark, waiting for me to save her. But I didn't. And I think about that single day. Once Han and Prophecy were gone, I was left in the middle of the hall by myself. It was a while before I could walk around again. I must have spent half an hour on the stone floor, flipping Julie's driver's license through my fingers, trying to work out what just happened. She was so pretty, I said to myself as I looked at the photo of her on the card, thinking about the stitched-together mismatched skin and the pale deadness of my eyes. What are you doing? Destiny asked me sometime later when she caught me doing a slow, morbid zombie walk down the halls. Gallows humor, I guess, I told her as I felt my face start to turn red from embarrassment. I can see how you and Jose are friends, she responded as she walked over to me. I remember when they put this place here. Lots of work goes into burying an entire castle, actually. Huh? I never would have guessed, I said sarcastically as we walked the halls together. So how are you? I was about to ask you that, she answered with a soft laugh. That, and I just needed to get away for a little while. Dad is up my ass about the Harvest Festival. I don't want to go. I'd rather spend the time figuring out what happened to Jose instead. It's turning into a whole thing, she explained. What kind of thing? He says I have to be there, that it's too important to miss, that I'm expected to be there, she sighed. Yeah, I can see how that might be an area of contention, I said as I started to ascend the steps to the manor. So what are you going to do? I guess I'll dress up, pop in for the speech, then take off again once he's done. Everyone wins. I'd rather forget all about the whole thing, but this is important to Dad and everyone else. Well, he's not the guy I'd want to disappoint, I agreed as I closed the castle door behind me. I started to say something else, but before I could again, Abigail had shown up. Hey, I need a ride to pick up my hair stuff for the festival, she told Destiny as she tugged on her sleeve. Hair stuff? I asked, a little confused. Oh, yeah, I forgot to explain how the festival works. Most of us who are old enough to be from a different time period wear clothes in the style of when we were born. Abigail dresses like she did when she got turned, so she gets a formula to make her hair longer like it was back then. It was really long, and I kept it in a braid, Abigail told me, running her now shoulder-length hair through her fingers. But it kind of stands out and gets caught on stuff in the shop, so I cut it off and only wear it long for the festival. Aw, but you're so cute back then. I mean, no, not that you aren't now, just that... Give it up, you already dropped the ball on this one. She told me before walking towards the kitchen. Hey, what happened to the Go-Gurts? There used to be Go-Gurts in here. I heard her shout from the refrigerator. You ain't dead? Stop stealing my damn snacks! Destiny yelled back. You guys have gotten a lot closer, haven't you? I asked Destiny. Huh? Yeah, I guess you're right. She'd come around before, but it wasn't until... Jose, I finished for her. He has that effect on people, along with a lot of other effects. Before Destiny left with Abigail, we all went up to check on the still unconscious Jackal. Once we reached his room, we found Victor in there with him, working alongside Nehushtan. What do you want me to do? His sternum looks like a goddamn jigsaw puzzle, Victor shouted at her. Oh, don't you have some toothpicks to count or something? She yelled back at him. For the 5th time, Dustin Hoffman was Rain Man. I played Rain Man's brother. Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. She mocked him again with a nasty grin. That Tom Hanks. Not even the same move. Ah! I think we should not, I mumbled to Destiny as we stood in the doorway. Yeah, whatever they're doing, we should probably not get in the way. She agreed as we watched the impending meltdown he was about to have. Hey, I heard screaming, Abigail said as me and Destiny reached the bottom of the stairs. Is she still acting like she doesn't know the movies he was in? Yeah, he's about to lose his shit, I told her as I followed her and Destiny to the garage. Good. I told her to do that if she really wanted to get under his skin. She giggled slyly as she climbed into the car. Once they were gone and I was left alone in the manor again, or I thought I was. So many people come in and out of there all the time, it's easy to forget about things like... Has anyone heard anything of Jose yet? Huck bellowed as he crashed through the door, me the only one remotely near him in the entire house. He scared me so damn bad, all I could do was freeze up mid-step like a deer in the headlights, my eyes wide as bowling balls. Well? He suddenly shouted at me after a long pause. Bah! He huffed as he shot down the hall. Count! Count! He called through the mansion until he finally materialized beside him. What is the matter, James? He asked as he walked along next to him. We need to be doing everything we can to find Jose. He roared to the still stoic Count. Not sitting around planning parties. James, I've been working on this situation since last night when I first heard what happened. If you notice, there were 2 people missing from the front door, correct? This is because I had already sent Boris and Yuri away to investigate. The Count explained to Huck. But I am continuing with the Harvest Festival as planned, the Count interrupted him. Because it will be a gathering attended by many people who are otherwise extremely difficult to contact. Many who are also very fond of Jose. I will make the announcement at the festival, which will alert them to the situation. I am not doing nothing. I am doing everything in my ability to find him, James. Please, trust me. Taking a minute to calm down and run his fingers through his hair, Huck finally took a deep breath and said, You're right. I'm terribly sorry for the outburst. It's just Jose has become something like a son to you. Yes, I know, James. The Count finished for him. I will not let anything happen to him if I can help it. Now go, and do what you must. And you, young lady, would you be so kind as to accompany me for a moment? He asked, shifting his attention to me. Oh, yes, coming. I squeaked as I tried to catch up, a little alarmed since I'd never really spent any time around him by myself. I didn't really know how to act in the situation. Following along, I noticed we were heading towards the lounge. Once we were both inside, he sat down in the chair he usually picked for himself and propped his chin on his fist. Please sit for a moment if you don't mind, he told me, glancing at the chair across from him. After I'd sat down and got comfortable, he spoke again.
Tell me, what do you think of Jose?
I guess he's... I don't want to say genuine. He acts like an idiot most of the time, but except for like Jackal or Victor, he's like the smartest person I know. He's helped me more than anyone else has since I ended up in this body. He bought me a bike, an expensive bike, and a phone, paid the bill until I started making money. He gave me a place to stay, a job. He got arrested for fighting a guy because he made me cry. And then he actually solved my own murder. He didn't have to, but he did. I told him, feeling myself start to get a little emotional. And now he's missing, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what happened. I can't do anything to help him, and oh God, I'm not okay, I said as I started to break into tears in front of the Count. The next thing I knew, he was kneeling in front of me with a handkerchief that he used to dry my face as I cried like a child.
Shh, I understand, young lady. You are worried about your friend. A friend like Jose is not easily replaced.
He spoke as he continued dabbing the tears off of my cheeks.
I may get aggravated by the boys sometimes, but that is only because I love my daughter so very much. I feel like they still need me to watch over them. But they have not been children for a very long time, and they do not need me to always be there like they used to. But they know I am here when they need me. And I am here for Jose as well.
He assured me as he placed a hand on my shoulder.
Try not to worry about him too much. As you have said, the boy is smart and clever. It is not so easy to harm him, coming from someone who has tried.
I laughed through my pursed lips. Yeah, I've heard about it. He knows how to tell the story. So is there something you needed me to do? I asked with a sniffle.
Oh, yes. Here, if you have the time, would you perhaps place these up around the places you normally make deliveries?
He asked, producing a small stack of paper from a nearby table.
We began doing this when the printing came faster and cheaper. It helps to inform the new residents of the festival. At first, I gave some consideration for missing posters. However, that might bring unwanted attention and even dangerous attention to the paranormal residents of the area.
Oh, these are flyers? Yeah, I can do that. But they've been trying to get me to stay here, in case it's dangerous out there or something. We still don't know what happened to Jose, and if it could happen to the rest of us, you know? I answered as I took the papers from him.
This makes sense. Here,
he said as he took the necklace he'd been wearing and placed it around my neck.
You will be safe as long as you wear this.
Oh, is it magic? I asked excitedly as I examined it.
Not exactly. Simply everyone knows it belongs to me. Since nobody can take it from me, then you are wearing it, it means I have given you it freely. Once they've seen that medallion, they would not think to harm you, he explained.
I wasn't the last samurai. It was Ken Watan Katsumoto. The movie was about Algren telling his story about meeting the last... God, I hate you so much!
I heard Victor still screaming irately from upstairs. I guess it has its moments. I thought to myself about my weird situation as I rolled away to put up the Count's flyers. After I'd stuck the last few up on a poster board near one of the paranormal heavy apartments, who do I see but Johnny walking around the far corner? What are they up to around here? I asked myself as I followed quietly behind him.
I'll give you one more chance, asshole!
I heard Chris shouting as I rounded the corner to see him with his fist raised in the air, brass knuckles in hand, violently threatening someone. Hey, what's going on? You aren't trying to beat information about Jose out of people, are you? I asked in alarm, running up to where they were.
Huh? What? Oh, nah. We were here looking for Jose, but then I saw this schmuck and he owes me about $1,000. So I thought, hey, while I'm here.
Chris answered.
In addition to that, the fuck you doing here?
Oh, the Count wanted me to put these flyer things up around the paranormal heavy places I deliver a lot to. Something about the festival? I told him whilst I looked for any excuse to leave an active crime scene.
Oh, hey, Rissa.
I heard Louis say, suddenly showing up behind me.
How you holding up?
He asked as he walked over to Chris and Johnny. I'm getting by. Where's Madison?
She's back at the shop. We got her sorting through some stuff looking for anything that might give us a hint what happened to Jose,
he said, holding something to Chris.
And hey, I don't want to worry you or nothing, but I also want to keep no secrets from you given the circumstances and all, he added. We've been asking around, and words being that those angelic assholes were given strict orders to leave Jose alone, just like there was for us for some reason. But they don't all agree with that, and these new generation ain't as compliant as they used to be. So it's getting real hard to rule out anything. Just thought you should know.
Oh, okay.
There's something else too.
Johnny spoke up.
Did Madison tell you about what happened at the shop? Time with the fake Abigail and the fake Madison?
Yeah, she mentioned it once or twice. But she said that after that, nothing else happened.
Not to us, no.
Chris spoke up.
Mahan was talking to Destiny and Madison. Jose's been seeing things nobody else has lately, right?
Mm-hmm, but what does that...
When you and Madison went to see Tom...
He interrupted me.
Jose didn't tell you, but he sent Destiny to look after you. But whilst he was gone, he said someone showed up pretending to be Destiny. This maid broad he keeps going on about. He said he only caught on when she noticed she wasn't wearing Destiny's perfume. And you remember before that? Those things we saw in the woods he was talking about? Some shadowy figure that could show him visions?
You think it's connected?
Be a hell of a coincidence if it wasn't, I think,
Chris answered, shrugging his shoulders.
Hey, get your ass back here!
He suddenly shouted as the guy he'd been threatening made a break for it.
Madison's at the shop if you need to find her.
He yelled back as he took off after the guy, followed closely by Louis, with Johnny bringing up the rear. Stooges. I sighed to myself as I got back on my bike to leave. But before I could ride off, my phone started to ring. Hey, what's up? I answered when I saw the call from Destiny.
Hey, I really hate to bother you, but can you do me a huge favor?
Sure, what do you need? I asked, wondering what it could possibly be.
If I send you the address, can you pick something up for me, or well, for Abigail? It's her dress for the festival. We're in a big hurry and I'm not allowed to poof there. Long story, but I'm just not allowed to.
Oh yeah, sure, it's no big deal. I was running an errand for your dad anyway, so I'm already out, I told her. Just tell me where to go.
Oh, thank you so much. I owe you.
She chirped before hanging up and texting me the address. Excuse me, I'm here to pick up a dress for a Miss Abigail? I said as I walked up to the counter of the small shop I'd been sent to. Hello? I called out when I didn't get a response.
Hi there!
Oh my god! I squealed as I shot back away from the counter when a green head popped out of nowhere and shouted in my face. Once I had a second to calm down, I could see the person behind the counter who had pale green skin and short grayish-white hair. Whoever it was seemed to be a man, albeit an extremely thin man, who was beaming down at me excitedly.
A pick-up for dear Mrs. Abigail, you say?
He asked in his high-pitched, energetic voice as he clapped his hands together.
Yes, I've been expecting you. Come on, follow.
He said, waving me to go with him to a different room.
Oh, darling, just look at you,
he continued once I was in the room with him. He stopped in his tracks and was looking me over top to bottom, literally. What, I don't get what you're saying.
She said I had something unique to work with, but even I didn't expect something so interesting. Ugh, I can't wait. Arms up,
he suddenly demanded. I still don't understand.
Sweetheart, Destiny and Abigail, the Count, all set you up. They already came by and got her dress. You're here for your dress, for the festival. But first I need measurements. So arms up like a T-pose.
He explained. Oh, like this? I asked as I raised my arms up from my sides. I'm sorry you don't have more to work with, I apologized as I sat across from him whilst he sketched ideas on a pad. But when I said that, he suddenly stopped in the middle of what he was doing, closed the pad, stood up, and smacked me across the head hard with one of the empty cardboard tubes he had strewn across the room.
Ow! Why?
I whined as he sat back down.
Because you ought to be nicer to the people that body of yours is made of.
He said bluntly, staring straight into my eyes.
2 beautiful young ladies gave a lot so you could have it. 2 beautiful young ladies. The days of being humble have come to an end for you, sweetie. They were both gorgeous. And don't you ever talk about them like they were anything less. I'm going to make this dress for you, and you're going to walk around in it like you're the hottest shit on the West Coast. You understand?
Yes, sir, I stammered, never feeling more ashamed of myself in my entire life. But he was right. Julie was beautiful. It wasn't a wonder why Jose was so into her from the first time he saw her. And whoever this other girl was, she must have been too. From what I could tell, her skin was perfect, smooth as silk, not a single bump or scar or blemish anywhere. She must have been a model or something when she was alive.
Oh, don't pout now. Cheer up. You're going to go knock their socks off with this one. Just you wait.
He assured me as he continued to draw.
Yes. This is going to be it.
He finally said with a huge smile.
No peeking!
He shouted, slamming the book shut before I could look.
It's a surprise. You'll have to wait. Now, shoo. I have to hurry and get this thing together before the festival.
That was pretty clever, I admitted to Destiny once I got back to the mansion. I thought you could use something to cheer you up. It just came to me when I was there. So I told him I would have you come and get measured, and then I'll get it and bring it back when it was done. So I asked Dad to help. Give you some reason to go out that way. And he's a really good. He made my dress too. And he was able to make Abigail's favorite dress from when she was a kid. She explained as we walked into the kitchen where Madison had been waiting.
Oh, hey, welcome back.
She greeted me when she saw.
Everything okay with the dress?
She asked as I sat down at the table. Yeah, and the guy was really cool. I like him. What about you? Do you have anything to wear?
Oh, nah. I'm gonna do security for the gig with the rest of the gang. Pays super good.
She said as she opened a paper bag that had been sitting in the middle of the table.
Here, I got us some food.
She told me as she sat a go-to container in front of me.
And here's yours.
She said to Destiny as she slid hers across the table.
I got Abigail something too, but I don't know if she come back with you or not.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I'm starving,
Abigail yelled as she literally dove and slid across the table to grab the container before rolling off the other side and into the floor.
Jesus, you okay?
Madison shouted the same time I did. Yeah, I'm just so hungry. With everything going on, I kind of forgot to eat anything, she explained as she stood back up. When she was back above the table, we could see that she wasn't looking all that well. She was breathing really heavily and her pupils were just tiny pinpricks in her bright yellow eyes as she walked over to the refrigerator and took out a small bottle. You sure you're okay? I asked, a little nervous as she shakily poured the thick red fluid from the bottle over her food. What is that, blood? Yeah, and everything else. We don't just drink blood. It's like the whole thing. Blood, muscle, organs, bone, everything. The guys at Dirty Work Inc. blend up the body parts for ones like me who don't want to, you know. It's not really for nutrition though. We just need some of it from time to time, so I can mix it with regular food and be fine, she said before finally taking a large bite of now slightly red noodles. Once she did, I could immediately tell the difference.
That's kinda messed up,
Madison suddenly said.
Why would you have to do it at all if it don't do nothing anyway?
Well, it does. she answered with a mouthful of sesame chicken. We can survive on it. We just don't have to. It's like a really strong drug addiction. Not having it every so often just hurts. And it doesn't stop hurting until it's in our bodies. If it gets too bad, then it gets really hard not to use the easy solution. Really hard. So it's important we have some of this with us just in case, like the people who carry hot sauce around with them. As the day passed on, not much changed. I could feel that knot in the pit of my stomach grow little by little as I sat around wondering where Jose was, what he was going through, and if we'd find him in time. And before I knew it, the night of the festival was here. For most of the day, I'd been holed up in my room, trying to keep my imagination from running wild, only occasionally leaving to check on the still unconscious Dr. Jekyll, taking a few minutes to listen to Nehushtan torment Victor by pretending to think he was in movies he wasn't in, which made me just a little happy. Eventually, I heard a knock at the door. "Hey, I have your dress," Destiny said from the other side. "You could just poofed in here," I told her as I opened the door. "Absolutely not," she replied with a grim expression once it was open. Oh my god, I just forgot about that. I groaned as I dove headfirst back onto the bed in embarrassment. "Call me with a rock," I mumbled into the pillow. "Don't worry about it," she said as she placed the garment bag down on the bed beside me. "Here, I was told to give you this message with the dress," she continued, handing me a piece of paper. "I've got to go get ready too. It starts at 8, she told me before she vanished. I took the note and opened it to read whatever it said. "Don't let me catch you with your hair in your face tonight," it said. That's when I noticed a small box sitting beside the dress. So I opened it to find a strange hair ointment with 2 small golden bolts attached to either side. I couldn't help but chuckle a little when I saw it. There was something else in the box too. A pair of golden bracelets. Stitches. They look like stitches. I laughed when I finally understood the design. Well, let's see what's in here then. I sighed as I unzipped the bag to get my first look at the dress. Oh my god, it's gorgeous, I gasped to myself when I saw it. It was deep, deep black and had rows of gold ornaments running across it to match the bracelets. The left shoulder had a strap, but the right one was so open you could see where the color of my skin met the other. Yeah, I get it, I thought to myself, realizing he was telling me to show it off. Once I was done doing my makeup, I took a deep breath. It's for Jose. It's for Jose. After tonight, everyone will know, and he'll be back soon, I told myself as I opened the door and stepped out into the hall. It didn't take long for Destiny to pop up next to me in her own dress. "Oh wow, I love it so..." "It's Frankenstein themed." "Oh my god, Rissa, I'm so sorry. I didn't think you would..." "No, it's okay. I like it. We talked whilst I was in there and he made me realize it's not something I have to hide all the time," I explained to her as we walked together. "I like your dress too," I told her, pointing at the deep crimson fabric draped over her. "It's really pretty. Where are we going?" "To get Abigail. She's still getting ready upstairs," Destiny answered as we walked around the corner. "So, not doing the original time period thing?" I asked when I walked along beside her. "Oh god, no. Have you seen what the fashion looked like back then? I don't even like thinking of wearing that stuff. I like this better," she answered, looking down at the silky dress. "But I don't get a whole lot of opportunities to dress like this, you know?" Fair enough. On our way, we ran into Louis at the base of the stairs, which was odd. I wasn't used to seeing him in the mansion yet. "Oh hey, what are you doing here?" I asked when I saw him. "Security. I got inside detail. Which is funny because normally people hire security to keep schmucks like me out. Now the turntables, am I right?" "Yeah, hard to argue with you there, considering you tried to kill my boyfriend," Destiny agreed, narrowing her eyes at him. which I'm pretty sure I saw a flash of a little redder for a second. "Everybody ready?" a voice asked from the top of the stairs. We all looked up to see Abigail in her own period dress. She looked like she stepped right out of the pages of a history book. The light brown dress had a purple trim with sunflowers in the middle all the way around. She was also wearing a white long-sleeve shirt with the old puffy sleeves under a deep blue vest. Instead of high heels like me and Destiny, she had on what looked like old deerskin moccasins. Her hair was just like she described, at least 3 times as long as it normally was, all in one long oak-colored braid tied off with a red ribbon that nearly touched the floor behind her. "What? What's everyone staring at?"
Abigail, you're gorgeous. She's right, you look so beautiful,
Destiny agreed.
"Hey, say something,"
she hissed, elbowing Louie in the ribs as she descended the steps.
"Huh? Oh, I really like your hair like that. Looks, real pretty,"
he said, awkwardly scratching the back of his head. "Oh, thank you," she said to Louie as she ran the long braid through her hands. Me and Destiny just exchanged, well then, looks with each other and followed along behind her to the festival in the back lawn. "So why sunflowers?" I asked when I caught up to Abigail. "It's a harvest festival. In Romania, they harvest sunflower seeds this time of year. Sunflowers are an important crop in Eastern Europe. So I asked him to add some sunflowers to the dress. And I think they're pretty." "When's your dad going to make the announcement?"
"Soon, calm down. It's going to be okay,"
Destiny answered as I fidgeted nervously.
"I'm worried about Jose too, but I'm sure he's going to be okay. Come on, have you had any of these little bite-sized sandwiches? I made them earlier today. They're really good,"
she said as she leaned over to the table with all the refreshments and snacks and junk on it. "My stomach isn't feeling too good right now," I told her as she picked up one for herself. We both just stood awkwardly at the table as different people of all varieties came to say hello to Destiny one after the other. They'd walk up, lightly shake her hand, and then disappear into the crowd like clockwork. But after a while, Relic finally decided to show himself, blinking up next to us out of nowhere. "Oh, there you are. I was hoping you would come. Any news?"
A lot, actually. Those explosions the night Jose disappeared. You may have figured out that one of them was Tom's building. The rest were from each and every entrance to the worst hotel. Not locally. All of them. Every entrance across the entire world was destroyed. Most of them are in isolated locations, so it doesn't set off any more radars than the number of bombings on any given day across the world. But...
"Oh yeah, Jose told me about that. That's like where your brothers live or something, right?"
It's far more than that. They are gateways, portals to enter the same space from any one of the entrances. It means someone was trying to keep them there. At least long enough to do whatever they have planned whilst at least one is being fixed. And there's the issue of Tom's building.
"What about it?" Destiny asked this time.
You've been there, right? It's a miniature version of the hotel. He's not supposed to even have it. Interdimensional pathways are supposed to be exclusive to the worst hotel, so they can be carefully monitored. Tom's building is also the only way to get to Fudomyu, and it's the only way for him to get here. Among all the gods you have, he is likely at the top of the totem pole. So it would seem whatever these people are planning, it would be big enough to get him involved. I find that troubling.
"Now I do too," I sighed, propping myself up on the table. "So you think Jose's missing has something to do with it too?" Destiny asked him. "Like that can't be a coincidence, right?"
It seems likely.
he started to say, but then Madison showed up.
Hey, it's almost time for the thing. You guys are supposed to be up on the balcony. Go on, move,
She said as she shoved us along back inside and to the stairs. I'm kinda nervous, I said to Destiny as we walked up the steps. Why do I have to be up there this time? You'll be okay. You don't have to do anything. Dad will do all the talking. He just wants you up there because you're one of his best friends. Tug on the heartstrings a little more than Relic would, you know? Yeah, I guess. I sighed as we walked out onto the balcony where Prophecy was already waiting for us. Hey, you two. You ready? She asked as we met her near the ledge. We're gonna find him, I promise, she added when she saw the depressed looks on our faces. I love your dress, by the way, she told me with a quick smile. Thanks, I said with a smile of my own before turning to look out over the crowd. Before long, Abigail had joined us alongside Chris and Huck.
It's about that time, folks,
Chris said as he stuffed his hands into his hoodie.
We're gonna get this shit sorted out real soon. Just you watch.
I hope so, Destiny said from beside me. Once the clock hit midnight, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye as the Count stepped out onto the balcony with the rest of us. He placed his hand on the railing and the entire crowd went dead silent in an instant. Before he spoke, he took a second to look out over at me and Destiny and gave us all a small nod.
I bid you all, my dear guests, the very best of evenings. However, this night I come to you with troubling news.
When he said that, the entire audience began to murmur amongst themselves until he raised a hand to quiet them.
As many of you already know, our small community has been fraught with troubles in recent weeks. We are taking steps to correct this invasion of our tiny corner of the world. However, it is with great distress that I must tell you all that Jose, the man my beautiful daughter loves so dearly, has disappeared. Taken. So we have been led to believe.
On that, the rumbling of the crowd almost got out of hand as they turned to speak amongst themselves. What's going on? I asked nobody in particular.
Your little friend over there is like royalty around here, remember? There are the bigwigs of the community, aristocrat types. If she's royalty, they're like nobility. A lot of these people see kidnapping her boyfriend as an unimaginable insult to them. Short version, they're fucking pissed.
Chris leaned over to whisper in my ear.
They'd tear LA to the ground to find him, and they thought the Count would let them get away with it.
At that, I couldn't help but smile a little, knowing they'd be looking for Jose too. And then the Count spoke again, causing the crowd to fall perfectly quiet once again.
You will remain calm. You will remain peaceful. It will not be negotiated. I will not be debated. But anything you can do to bring Jose home safely without causing any undue harm will be greatly appreciated. I will be personally in your debt.
That's when the entire audience went into an uproar. What the hell was that? I hissed to Destiny over the chatter from below. My dad basically just told them if they find Jose, he'll owe them a favor. He's not really known for doing personal favors. Like, at all. She answered, leaning in closer so I could hear her. Then the crowd went silent again. So I looked over at the Count, waiting to see what he'd say next. And that's when I realized they hadn't stopped talking because of him. His eyes were locked on the mass of people on the lawn. Turning to find what had everyone so quiet, I looked down to see. No way. I nearly gasped when I saw the figure of a tall woman in an old maid outfit making her way through the crowd as they parted in front of her. I turned to look at Destiny, whose mouth was hanging wide open in disbelief as the maid continued to walk slowly towards our place on the balcony.
Thought he was going crazy, didn't you?
Were the first things out of her mouth as she spoke directly to us from the ground.
No matter how hard he tried to tell you, you just brushed him off. Looked at him like he was losing his mind. Well, here I am.
she said with a nasty smile I could see even from where I was standing. I'd say you should think about apologizing, but... Oh, wait. You don't know where he is, do you? She mocked us with a chuckle in the back of her throat.
Stop with the damn taunting! What do you want? What are you doing here?
Hook suddenly shouted down at her from the other side of the count. Her grin widening as she looked over at him. She answered cheerfully. Lucky for you, tonight I'm here only as a messenger. The message is short and clear. I do know where Jose is. He is safe and alive, and he'll stay that way as long as you step down from your position over the paranormal community of this area, she stated, giving her head an arrogant little tilt. Just think about your daughter, old man, she warned. You think she can handle losing 2 in a row?
You mind that tongue of yours, woman?
Hook roared down at her, but she didn't give a single ounce of attention. He might as well have not been there at all.
One more of those and you'll have seconds to live, girl.
That one seemed to do something. Oh? Okay. Let's see what you got, Captain Crunch. She mocked as she waved him down to her level.
Right, that's it. I'm going to go down there and make her eat her own apron.
He growled as he got ready to jump right over the rail, his silver hand clanging against the railing, but the Count stuck out his own hand to stop him.
A little patience, James. Let us hear the rest of what she has to say. That is a bold claim. What do you have to show us he is well and in your care?
Yeah, right? No proof of life or nothing? Worst ransom ever, if you ask me.
The voice of someone with a mouthful of food said from just behind me. Before I could even see who it was, I could already see the look of indescribable shock and confusion on the maid's face as she stared up at that person. Tears had already begun to pour out of my eyes as I slowly turned around. You guys try any of these tiny sandwiches yet? They're pretty great. Jose?
Help support the author on Patreon. Link in the description below.